thank you for joining me for this practice to cultivate some rest and some ease. This practice will end without me kind of drawing you up, so that if you are using this to go to sleep at night, you're not being asked to wake up. So let's find a position on a mat or on the floor, wherever works for you. We're going to come into a table position. We want to start off with just getting rid of some of the excess energy that we might be carrying around. So in a table position or on forearms, your choice. Let's take a big breath in as you round, and then exhale, pull the spine in as you lengthen. Inhale, round. Exhale, lengthen. Moving the rib cage, moving the lungs. And if you'd like, you can go a little faster. Inhale, exhale. 3 more. Now let's add the legs, get a little movement in the legs. Inhale, knee towards the nose. Exhale, lengthen the leg out behind you. Inhale and exhale. And we're going to add the sound of ha as we speed it up. Ha, 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 ha. 3 more. Ha, ha, ha. Hold. Take 3 deep breaths here. And release. Take a moment here. Feel the unevenness in the hips, maybe even the hands. Adjust the hands here. Let's do the other side. Inhale, left knee towards the nose. Exhale, extend. We're just burning off some of that excess energy that might keep us from resting. Okay, let's speed it up. And again, we'll use that sound of ha. 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 2 more. Ha. Ha. And hold. Breathing here for 3 deep breaths. Release. Take the knees wide. Big breath in. And we'll use the sound of lum to bring the hips to the heels for a child's pose. Lum. That nice soothing grounding sound. Stack your fists on top of each other. Rest the forehead on the fists. 3 big breaths in and out here. And then using the support of the hands, slowly press yourself up into a seated position. So an invitation here, I'm using Serenity Blend from doTERRA. You could also use a lavender oil, no oil, or anything else that's nice and soothing. You can take it and just put it on the tips of the index fingers. And then rubbing the fingers together. We're going to bring our fingertips to Shankha Marma, which is right here halfway between the tragus and the corner of the eye. A nice circular massage as we take 6 breaths in. This circular massage is super gentle and soft. Marma points are energy points, very similar to acupressure, acupuncture points. They are from the yogic system. And this marma is about soothing and releasing excess intensity, excess energetic heat. It's also a good one for headaches. And when you complete, release the hands for a moment, palms open, eyes soft. Taking full breaths in and out. As you notice the tips of the left fingers and the tips of the right fingers, they might be tingling with some energy. Notice the palms of the left hand and the right hand. They might be awake. And then notice those points near the temples. It might still feel as though the fingertips are touching there. And then with your hands, take your pinky fingers and your ring fingers to touch the tip of the thumb, kind of like a peace sign. Bring index and middle fingers to touch and lift the hands right in front of the shoulders. This is prana mudra. We'll take 6 breaths here. It's all about opening through the lungs. Big breaths in and big breaths out. We're inviting more breath, more energy into the lungs. And we're releasing grief and inspiration from the lung space. The lungs are the seat of grief and inspiration. So as we take these full deep breaths and as we release, you might feel inspired, but you also might feel sadness arising. It's okay. If sadness or emotion arises, if grief arises, let that flow on your mat as you practice. Now we'll keep this same hand position, but let's ground by taking the tips of the pointer and middle fingers to the ground on either side of you. Bhu Mudra, all about connecting with the earth, grounding. And for this practice, let's use 3 rounds of the sound lum to increase the experience of grounding, earth energy in the physical body. And we'll emphasize that L sound. Take a deep breath in. Lum. 2 more times. Lum. Last one. Lum. And then with an inhale, sweep the arms up over the head, but relax the shoulders. Inviting and embracing a message, maybe a message for peacefulness, calmness, rest, relaxation. Maybe some other message is arising. Let's draw that energy down to the heart using the sound of Om. Inhaling. As you end here in Anjali Mudra, press the thumbs into the breastbone. We're stimulating that point on the chest, that energetic point that brings the energy of the lungs and the heart together, a meeting place of love, compassion, grief, and inspiration. And then release the hands. Release yourself back into a table position. And here, let's set the hands further in front of the shoulders, bringing the knees together. And let's circle with the hips. Inviting a sense of ease, fluidity. As we circle here, let's use the sounds, soothing sounds of so hum. Big breath in. So hum. Again. So hum. And now let's circle the other direction. Again, let's add those soothing sounds of so hum. So hum. Again. So hum. And then coming back to center. Bring those knees super wide, big toes touching. Come down onto forearms to elbows. And then with the exhale, press back. Now, of course, if you have knee issues, this might feel uncomfortable. So you'll do what you can do. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, press the hips back. Inhale, rock forward. Exhale, press back. 3 more. Last one. And then come forward. Press into the elbows to lift the hips a little bit and bring the knees together. We're going to come into our first of 2 inversions, downward facing dog. Downward facing dog is a grounded inversion. If it's inaccessible for you today, you can do table pose, which is just simply this, and breathe. Or you could come to standing and place your hands against the wall, pressing the hips back. For downward facing dog, let's inhale and expand the back of the heart. Exhale, navel in, toes are curled under. Again, inhale, expand. And then with the exhale, press and lift the hips, opening the backs of the knees. If you have tight shoulders, walk your hands wider apart. If you have tight hips, walk your feet further apart. Soften the knees. Inhale, tip your hips towards the floor. Exhale, tip your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Inhale, tip. Exhale, lift. We're opening both legs at the same time, reducing the risk of destabilizing the hips by that twisting action. Now let's use the sound of NG to vibrate through the crown. Again. One more time. And with an exhale, release the knees down. And either pressing back to child's pose or just simply onto your forearms, rest your forehead down with forehead on the earth. Rock the head from side to side like you're massaging your forehead. And here we'll use that soothing sound of with the lips closed. Maybe the teeth are even touching 3 times. Last one. So from our child's pose, we're going to come into the practice of rabbit pose, which is another simple inversion. The reason we're doing some inversions is that in yoga, they're said to stimulate the pineal gland, which is the gland that helps to release melatonin, which helps us to sleep at night. It also stops that fluid movement of cerebrospinal fluid. And when the cerebrospinal fluid stops moving, it can help to bring us into a relaxing place. In craniosacral therapy, it's known as still point, when we stop that movement of the fluid and that pumping action. If you've never done rabbit pose, feel free to watch. I'll give you several variations of it, and then you'll go on your own. We're using sound again to also vibrate. This also helps to release the brain lymph, which we talked about in another video on the lymphatics. So I'm going to bring my knees together, and I've got my elbows flat on the floor. My hands are extended, and from here, I'm dropping the crown of my head to the mat. This is safe for people with neck injuries as long as you can come into this flexion of the neck, because I'm not actually putting any weight on my head, but I am having touch between the top of my head and the floor. So this is the first option. The second option would be to bring the hands further back, which will give you a little more weight on the crown of the head. Now, for those of you without a neck injury, and I do have one, so I'll only demonstrate with one arm, is you'll bring the arms back, both arms, alongside the lower legs. The fullest version of the pose is the knees walked in towards the nose and holding the heels. Again, that can be very uncomfortable if you've got ample bosom, ample belly, neck injury, head injury. So be gentle. I'll stay in this first, more simplistic version. If you feel unable to even touch the head to the floor, then simply tip the elbows, tip the hands in, and hold the crown of your head with a light pressure from the hands. Let's vibrate through that 7th chakra region using the sound of NG, like at the end of the word gong. Let's do 6 rounds of that. Big breath in. 3 more. Last one. Big breath in, and then release to child's pose. Taking 3 deep breaths in your child's pose. And allowing the eyes to remain soft. Slowly press yourself up. So you're coming into your seated position. Feel free to use something underneath the hips for support. Eyes still soft. And things may feel a little more still, quiet, calm on the inside. You might feel very restful, or even as though you could sit for meditation or crawl in bed and go to sleep. Let's do one more seated pose of forward bend. So bend your right knee, and you can hold the calf. You can reach down and hold the sole of the foot around the toes. Inhale, and then exhale. Lengthen the spine up nice and tall. So as you're holding here, you may notice that you're pressing on the abdomen and the abdominal organs. This is good for calming the nervous system. Take a deep breath in. And then with the exhale, slowly start to slide that right leg forward. When your belly comes off your thigh, that's as far as you want to go. We want to make sure we're protecting the low back. And then if it's comfortable, you can drop your head. Maybe not too much, just finding a nice, easy janu sirsasana here. And let's use the soothing sounds of oh-oo. Big breath in. As you take your big breaths in, let that resistance on the abdomen take the breath into the back of the body, which is soothing for the nervous system. Let's use O-U-A-A. Big breath in. This time O-U-A-A-E. And if you've already forgotten them, just make a little noise with me. Deep breath in. One more time. And take 3 more, 4, 6 count breaths. Nice, long, soothing exhales. To release, you'll bring your hands to either side of the leg and slowly walk yourself up. If you wish, straighten out that right leg. And let's take 3 deep breaths here. Resting palms open. You might feel longer on one side of the torso. You might still be feeling constriction against the abdomen. And then release the left leg and bring the right foot in, sole of the foot to meet the inner edge of the left thigh, and bend the left knee. Let's interlace, again, our fingers around the sole of the left foot or maybe the calf. Sit up really long and tall so you get that nice compression against the abdominal organs. This is also good for digestion and, more importantly, elimination, which is why we start on the right side and then move to the left side. So taking a deep breath in, and then very slowly slide the left leg out until the abdomen begins to separate from the leg. This helps to ensure that the low back is remaining nice and straight. If that knee needs to stay bent, which I'm demonstrating here, then you'll keep that knee bent. Lengthen again and then drop the head. Let's use O-U here. Deep breath in. O-U-A-A. O-U-A-E. Big breath. Let's do that again. And then dropping the forehead, take 3 more 4, 6 count breaths. Some long, soothing exhales to calm the nervous system, to turn the mind off. And when you finish, slowly press yourself upright. Release the leg long. Let the palms rest open. Let the eyes be soft. Big breaths in and out. You may feel abdomen expanding fully with breath. You may feel a little quieter on the inside. Or maybe there's a bubble of stillness on the inside into which you can turn or return. From here, slowly, very gently, release yourself down onto your back. If you were practicing before bedtime, you might release yourself into your bed. You can stretch the legs out long. Knees can be bent. Your choice for how you wish to rest. If the knees are bent, just let the knees drop into each other by taking the feet a little wider apart. Palms can be open or hands can rest on the abdomen. Allow the eyelids to feel heavy. as though you have seen everything, nothing more to look at. Allow the tongue to fall away from the roof of the mouth, as though there is nothing more that needs to be said. Allow the inner ear canals to soften. As though they are opening, more receptive to your inner voice of wisdom. With each exhale, soften the shoulders a little bit more. The palms of the hands and the fingers. Soften the rib cage. From the collarbones all the way down to the base of the rib cage in the stomach region. Soften the abdomen. Soften the low back. Where have you been holding on in the low back that you can now release a little bit more? Soften the hips, the left hip and the right hip. The knees, the feet, and all the way down to the toes. Imagining the toes lengthening and opening. And here the whole body is softening. The whole body is resting. Allow yourself to relax and completely let go.